Good morning. Our guests are coming in, so kindly let us be ready to welcome them with a round of applause as they come in. Our guests of honor, come in. Honorable CS, you're welcome. Excellency ES, welcome. Our PS, most welcome. Kindly let's take our seats so that we can start. Your Excellency, Honorable Hannah Cheptumo, Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture, Arts and Heritage of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Dr. Bokne Ibeyemu, IGAD Executive Secretary, Dr. Corinne Singoi, the Principal Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rehema Dida Jaldesa, Chair of the National Gender and Equality Commission, Republic of Kenya, our Deputy Executive Secretary, Mohamed Nware, distinguished members of IGAD Council of Eminent Personality, honorable delegates, and esteemed IGAD colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Hamjambo. Good morning. Bonjour. Thank you, distinguished guests, eminent personality, and the wise council of elders who have graced with their presence today. As we gather here in the heart of Nairobi city, whose name means place of cool waters, we find ourselves perfectly positioned to discuss how indigenous knowledge can be cool waters that refresh our region's quest for lasting peace. My name is Joshua Tonyari, and I have the honor of managing not just the administration and finance, but today I will manage the precious time of some of the most distinguished minds in the Horn of Africa. We live in a region where our borders may divide us on maps, but our challenges unite us in purpose. Today, we gather here not just like officials, but keepers of wisdom passed down through generations. The saying of our grandparents, the tradition mechanism that our elders used to resolve conflicts, these are not outdated, they are powerful tools we can use today. After my opening remarks, we'll go straight to the speeches. And before I call upon the first speaker, I want to take this opportunity first to recognize him that since he joined IGAD in November 2019, he brought deep experience from his time as Ethiopia's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Transport. He built physical bridges then, and now he's building bridges of peace across our region. Under his leadership, IGAD has grown stronger, not just surviving conflicts, but offering real African solution to African problems. Coming from Sheshamane, a town known for its cultural riches, he reflects the spirit of this forum, uniting diverse knowledge and tradition for shared progress. It is just weeks ago that he was in Mandera promoting the Horn of Africa Gateway project, showing that regional integration isn't just a concept, but it's something you live and lead. On a personal note, as he is Director of Finance and Administration, I have seen firsthand how his leadership blends diplomacy with action. He once said that IGAD should be like a family where everyone contributes, and today we see that vision in action. Please, distinguished guests, join me in welcoming the driving force behind IGAD's modern transformation and the patron of the IGAD Council of Eminent Person, His Excellency Dr. Wokne Gebeyehu, the IGAD Executive Secretary. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Director Onyare. Thank you for all these kind words. And also I want to thank you and your team for organizing such a very, very important meeting, which is graced by a lot of dignitaries, which are very important not only for this region, but also the continent and beyond. Let me start my speech by recognizing Her Excellency, the Cabinet Secretary, Hannah Cheptom, the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture and Arts and Heritage, the Republic of Kenya. My dear brother, His Excellency, Dr. Korir Singoi, Principal Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rahema Dida Jaldesa, Chair of the National Gender and Equality Commission, Republic of Kenya, distinguished members of the IGAD Council of Eminent Personalities. Now I cannot count these people here. It's very difficult to name them. They are already known very well. And also we are very proud to have them here to be members of this council, starting from Poltergat to Darartu Tulu. Once they were fighting in the peaceful war in different places, but ultimately they are here today to fight for common purpose, for common goal. That common goal is the peace of the region. So I'm very proud to have them. Honorable delegates and my colleagues, my Deputy Executive Secretary, and all the protocols are observed. It is my singular honor to stand before you as Executive Secretary of IGAD, welcoming you to this very important assembly. As we convened, a truth emerged to me with dizzying clarity. We are the living embodiment of the scared trust, bridging divides and building futures. The IGAD Council of Eminent Personalities exists in service of peace, security, and unity of our IGAD region, which have a lot of challenges as well as a lot of opportunities. Let history bear witness to our profound gratitude to the visionary leaders of our IGAD region, the heads of states and government of our region, which established IGAD itself and give the green light to establish this Council of the Eminent Personalities. I want to take this opportunity to thank our gracious host, the Republic of Kenya, the founding member of this organization and very active member and leader of this organization, and with deepest admiration for their exceptional hospitality and unwavering commitment to meaningful dialogue across our region. To our development partners, especially Japan, whose sustained commitment continue to bear fruits, and your presence proclaims our shared resolve to close the chasms that divide us and build lasting peace. Since 1986, IGAD has embodied our shared continental vision, anchored in our founding agreement, driven by our strategic plan 2021-25, guided by Vision 2050, and aligned with African Union agenda. This represents our deepening commitment to regional integration and peaceful development, forged in the curable of the experience. Before IGAD was born and throughout the history, our elders have been the custodians of peace, the mediators of disputes, and the voices of reason when tempests regard across our lands. From resolving families' conflicts to guiding nations through darkness, they have stood as unshakable pillars upon which trust and reconciliation have been built generation after generation. Through their accumulated wisdom, countless disputes have found peaceful resolution. Grievances have been heard with justice, and the scared bonds of community have been restored. Their impartiality has been their greatest strength, allowing them to serve as a honest brokers, trusted by all sides and respected by all generations. Yet we must ask ourselves the difficult question, that is, are we still walking that hallowed path of wisdom and impartiality? Are we upholding the scarred trust placed in us when the conflicts tear our social fabric of our member states? Have we remained as a neutral as those giants who came before us, or have the winds of change eroded the foundation of our moral authority? These answers may be very difficult to answer. And just, I ask you to think not outside, but inside. What happened to this very cultural, communal, and a traditional society which is now suffering with a lot of conflict in our region? If there are elders, if there is wisdom, wisdom is more than authority. Our elders can cross any kind of authority and power and resolve any kind of conflict in the society. Still we have our elders. Still we have members of eminent personalities who can have an ear of millions of our community. But why we are not influencing, while the people who can bring not peace, disputes are prevailing in all aspects of our community? Why we are not speaking? Why we are not preaching? Are we really less than the spoilers of peace? We don't have our grassroots to talk to our community which can, resolve the challenges that we are facing. These are the questions that I want you to discuss, to ask your, yourself, Your Excellencies, and dear brothers and sisters. Our legitimacy comes not from power, but from trust, not from authority imposed, but from respect earned through fairness and wisdom. We must be above the fray, listening to every voice, ensuring our actions serve all our people, not merely only the privileged ones. Honored council members, your assembly convenes when our region is in the grip of double danger, or maybe more than that. On one hand, we acknowledge that there are important areas where leadership development can be improved to meet our evolving regional challenges. And at the same time, we are besieged by multiple crises where leadership is needed at most. From the terrorist insurgency in Somalia to political situation in South Sudan and the hot war in the Republic of Sudan. If we include climate shocks such as drought, flooding and famine, and pandemic threats, we inevitably face the perfect storm of destruction. Unless and otherwise, we stand together. Your Excellencies, your experience as elders and eminent personalities and scholars, the civil leaders equipped you to open doors no uniform can access. You can open any door of this region or beyond. The informal pathways with your control are often more effective at fostering diplomatic consciences, enabling IGAD to act early and effectively with political will and moral authority as our protective shields. At our Addis Ababa meeting in November 2023, we refined our term of reference, identifying where each of you serve best. This was a concrete commitment to complement IGAD's effort to restoring peace in our troubled region. We desperately need you to preserve and sustain IGAD's positive outcomes in silencing the guns. We need you to diminish the tender of conflict into whisper of reconciliation, ensuring that where once hatred divided our people, hope shall unite them. Where drums of war echoed across our lands, the songs of children shall ring forth in cross. Drawing upon your wisdom, dear council members, your firm hand and your gravitas, where once violence's shadow darkness our horizon, the dawn of lasting peace shall illuminate the path forward, not only for this generation, but for all generations yet to come who shall feast upon the fruits of our courage and our unwavering determination to choose dialogue over conflict, unity over division, and the enduring triumph of our shared humanity over fleeting temptations of conflicts. Excellencies, distinguished guardians of wisdom and architects of tomorrow's peace, this moment carries particular significance. IGAD turns 40 in 2026, next year. This is a milestone that invites reflection and call upon us to redouble our effort toward the Vision 2050, creating a region that is peaceful, integrated, and prosperous. This forum offers us the opportunity to prepare two precious endowments for our institution and the people of the region. First, conferring full diplomatic status to our preventive diplomacy missions with complete member state support. This represents transformation from reactive to proactive peace building, thereby saving countless lives and resources and preventing wars before they began. The second one is elevating, cementing the status of the Council of Eminent Personalities through full endorsement and formal institutional recognition within IGAD's policy organs. The enhanced visibility and operational coherence will harmonize peace missions, avoiding costly duplications while ensuring we are able to better exercise the principle of subsidiarity in our conflict resolution effort. Excellencies, IGAD's fundamental strength lies in our solidarity. Like the intertwining roots of the mighty baobab tree that has weathered 1,000 storms, our unity gives us that much strength or more. We have joined our individual capacity, we create something far more powerful than the sum of our parts, a real force for good that can transform our continent and specifically our region. With your leadership and wisdom, this council can embody this principle effectively, bridging divides and building the future that serves all our peoples. Your collective moral authority possesses transformative power to convert yesterday's conflict into tomorrow's cooperation, ensuring the children of those who are fighting now shall unite for the better future of tomorrow. As we commence this vital session, let us reflect upon our scared duty to heal the wounded, unite the divided, and inspire the despairing. Let us draw from the deep well of our shared heritage to foster dialogue where once there was shouting, to heal the wounds of the division. Let this gathering testify to what wisdom can achieve when hope is given a voice. The hour might be late, but it is not too late. Still, we have a very strong voice and a very strong community which will listen each other. The challenges may be mighty, but we are mightier than the challenges that we are facing. The path is very difficult, but we are firm of footing. We shall not falter, we shall not fail, for we are keepers of peace, the guardians of hope and architects of tomorrow. Thank you for your steadfast commitment. Your eminent presence honors us all. Thank you for the insights you bring to this deliberation that shall echo through the ages. And thank you once more for answering history's call where lesser souls would have turned away. The future is watching, Your Excellencies. Let us not be indifferent in two. Let us inspire it, let us guide it, and let us deliver into the peace for which all our people in the IGAD region and indeed in all our humanity prevail. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for those inspiring words. Excellencies, listening to His Excellency, he's telling us we now need to stop these meetings and we go to the action. The action is not in this meeting room, the action is out there. But as we wait for your guidance in terms of the endorsement, then we need also to now look the way forward and agree how do we go out there and preach peace. Peace that His Excellency is talking about. The next speaker is a distinguished guest, and it is my privilege to introduce a man who embodies the very essence of today's theme, that is harnessing leadership for peace. Major retired John Ayebei Sei represents what happened when military precision meets indigenous wisdom, when modern leadership embraces traditional values. As the chair of our IGAD Council of Eminent Person, he leads a group that proves the saying that wisdom belongs to the one who seeks it from others. Major Sei, they say in military circles that a good commander never leaves his troops behind. Today, you lead a different kind of army, an army of wisdom keepers, peace builders, and vision holders. We are ready to follow your strategic guidance. Major Sei, the podium is yours to share your vision for how our council will transform the ancient art of elder mediation into a modern peace diplomacy. Major Sei, the floor is yours.
I must confess that my thunder has been stolen, and so I have to ride on somebody's back. With the protocols already established, recognizing the presence of our esteemed Executive Secretary IGAD, our newly appointed Cabinet Secretary, Mrs. Cheptumo, PS, a long-standing friend of mine, Dr. Korir, and all here present, all the peacemakers here present. It makes me a very poor reader when somebody like Dr. Workner has read a very long speech, and so I'm going to be very brief. And I want to thank you for making my speech to be brief. But I stand here to welcome all of you, first of all, to our country, Kenya, and to say thank you all the delegates that have come from the IGAD region. The IGAD family is complete. And even if one is absent, majority always have their say. The issue of the Council of Eminent Persons is something that its time came, and it was born nearly 2 years ago under the leadership of our able Executive Secretary, Dr. Workner. Talking of harnessing indigenous knowledge and leadership to deal with the issues that persist and continue to bedevil our region, the continent, and the world at large cannot be more emphasized. Right across the globe, and when we talk about insecurity, lack of peace, sometimes we think of those which are far away. We think of Middle East, we think of Ukraine, or somewhere in West Africa, or somewhere in the Pacific. But right here at home, in our region, IGAD, we have enough in our hands to cause us who are here present to think and say and ask the question, what are we going to hand over to our grandchildren? Are we going to give them a tattered region, or we will restore tomorrow for our children and for our children's children? And these problems cut across. Some are natural, some are man-made. When floods strike, when famine is there, and people move from one place to another, when climate change affects our cycle of planting crops and so forth, imagine how even development itself is devastated. So we are not only thinking about the peace between ourselves, not to fight against each other, but also how to harness what we know to deal with those areas which are natural, so to speak. And so as we sit, we need to come up with a strategic plan of action. And that action has to be based on that indigenous knowledge we have. And the knowledge we have is not from a book written by a scholar from the West or from the East, but written by our scholars of old. The knowledge and wisdom that has been bestowed upon us, and it has been diluted by what we call the acquired knowledge from the West, sometimes puts us in a very awkward situation. But we need to come out of the old box of the Western conceptualized way of dealing with problems, but come home. In Kenya, we have many tribes, but there is one common ground. When it comes to peace, there is no peace but peace. Ethiopia, many tribes. South Sudan, many tribes, and so forth. When it comes to peace, it is nothing but peace. No peace belongs to another group which does not belong to the other. Otherwise, it is not peace. And so, we call upon ourselves in a sitting like this, as we think about our region, as we think about the presentations, that what are we going to do? How are we going to think out of the box? Because we have been boxed in. We need to be innovative. We need to be imaginative. We need to be creative so that we can move forward. And so as I stand here, and as you have been told of my name, and as the chairman of the IGAD Council of Eminent Personalities, and sometimes maybe some of you glanced at my varying address. Some call me Major General, others call me Major Sei. I think I deserve both of them. And so I do not want anybody in the official capacity of the government of Kenya to say, Major Sei usurped a rank and called himself Major General. Thank you for the mistake you made, the Secretariat of IGAD office. I really appreciate that. Your Excellency, I'm very happy about that. And you may as well call me that name as we go along. There will be no problem. And so, I can stand here, and many of us can stand here and articulate. But as it has been said, this is the time for action. But we have to act on something. We have to create so that we can act upon it. And so I want to call upon all the members of the IGAD Council of Eminent Persons, both the officials and the invited guests. Take a moment and say, if you are to be given an opportunity to say something here. And thank you, Professor Zacchaeus. I appreciate you very sincerely. If each one of us was to be asked, what is the best way to solve this problem? Let me tell you, we will come out with answers from this room. None of us is just a spectator here. We are all in active service. And for that reason, put your mind on a high gear to think and say, what am I going to contribute towards the discussion of this forum? So that when we leave here, the office of the Executive Secretary, the staff will be able to put together something that is going to be workable. For the African culture is very rich. And to solve conflicts, we don't refer to a book. We refer to our history. And so I want to wish all of you, those who will take the floor to discuss, and those who will be taking notes, and when it comes to that moment of contribution, your one statement matters a lot. Nobody here is of less value than the other. You have what it takes to solve our problems. We have what it takes to solve our problems. Our region, as it is, and the vision and mission of IGAD as a whole, if we take our role, play our part, then sooner we will achieve those visions and missions. They are one, not many missions, not many visions. It's one. And so, may I say what an honor it is to give this address and say, fellow Africans, this is our land. When we were young, we sang the song. And the song went like this. Which way, Africa? Which way, my continent? Which way, Africa? I want to know. this is my continent. And we can say, this is our region. I want to know which way to go. We have to define and move together. Not for your sake, or even for your children, but so that we have something to hand over to our great-grandchildren. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Major Sei. And indeed, as you assume the chair of the eminent person, that general must have bestowed in you. Yeah, now, the next speaker, again, brings both international legal expertise and deep understanding of Kenya's role in regional diplomacy. Dr. Koril Singoei is not just a principal secretary, he's a scholar practitioner who has worked with international organizations, including our very own IGAD, and now shapes Kenya's foreign policy. Daktari, you represent a nation that has consistently opened its arms to refugees, mediated regional conflicts, and championed African solution to African problems. Karibu and share Kenya's perspective on indigenous knowledge in diplomacy. Dr. Singoei, we know that in diplomacy, as in traditional mediation, the right words at the right time can prevent 1,000 conflicts. We await your guidance. Excellent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onyari, Minister for Culture, Women and Children Affairs of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Hannah Chiptumo, the Executive Secretary of our beloved organization, IGAD, His Excellency Wakene Gabeyehu, and your very able deputy, my friend Mohamed Ware, distinguished members of this panel of eminent persons, led by your chairperson, Major John Sei, otherwise known as the People's General. Apparently, I think in Kenya you can call him the People's General because I bring you greetings from my Cabinet Secretary and Prime Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Mudavadi. He would have loved very much to be with you, Executive Secretary, but on account of other roles that he plays, he asked me to be here this morning. Major Sei has mentioned that this panel of eminent persons, their knowledge is not necessarily from the books. It is born out of their wisdom and experience accumulated over time. That may be true. But I want to persuade you, General Sei, that there is nothing incompatible with that view to also borrow a few ideas from books. The two can work together because indeed we need to distill your wisdom into writing so that future generations can be able to learn how we were able to deal with our own challenges. In May this year, Excellencies, Kenya ratified the new IGAD treaty. It is a treaty that has put IGAD on a solid footing, and by ratifying it, our parliament was reaffirming the fact that not only is Kenya a founding member of IGAD, but that Kenya associates itself fully with the objectives of this great institution. IGAD sits at the fulcrum of peace, development, empowerment, and transformation. Over its lifetime, IGAD has been a force multiplier, helping us navigate as a region together within our diversity, helping us navigate very, very complex peace and security challenges. Through IGAD, we were able to navigate the complexity of the breakdown of the Somalia state. Through IGAD and with IGAD, we were able to work together as we struggled with the Sudan situation as it was then, giving rise to the birth of a new nation known as South Sudan. And through IGAD, that nascent nation called South Sudan, which has struggled with various challenges around nation building, we've worked under the IGAD framework to be able to strengthen the institutional and normative frameworks of that institution, including through the revitalized agreement that was established in 2018. And so I'm just reiterating the fact that IGAD has been on the front line of our efforts at the national level. But IGAD, Excellencies, has not just been active at the national level. It has also been active at the grassroots level, where, as it were, the rubber does meet the road. I think IGAD has been innovative in its bottom-up approaches to peace building and to peace and security challenges. And in this regard, the work that IGAD has done in institutionalizing peace committees at community, at district levels, the work that IGAD has done in terms of early warning and early response have become case studies for those of us who are looking for mechanisms, and frameworks, that can help us respond to conflicts. And so the establishment by IGAD of this panel of eminent persons constitutes yet another innovation of IGAD. It is indeed a very, very unique body, because it brings together men and women of integrity who have played great roles in their own respect, in their respective countries, but also within the region, to bring peace through their professions, but also through living out and embodying the values of peace. And I'm really delighted, Your Excellency, to see the kind of men and women that you've brought together, including our sports heroes, men and women who've brought honor and prestige to our nations and to our region. And their names alone are revered and respected, and their presence in conflict arenas is in itself an immediate call to action. And their voices are deeply, deeply respected. And so, Your Excellency, I want to commend IGAD for this innovation. Africa, as it were, and the region in particular, is fraught with conflicts. And we're not just dealing with interstate conflicts, but conflicts within the state itself are what bedevil our continent. Our continent today is experiencing about 35 different sets of conflicts that are craving for response. This makes Africa the highest continent, the continent with the highest number of conflicts, of internal conflicts. And it is through this council or this panel of eminent persons that some of those conflicts, some of those fires can be extinguished. The fires that are burning in our communities can be put off, can be extinguished through this eminent persons council. Your Excellencies, I want to persuade us to deploy our best resources towards institutionalizing this Council of Eminent Persons. And Kenya offers itself to be able to support IGAD and support the Secretariat in the journey towards institutionalization. Indeed, as you know, Your Excellencies, the United Nations Charter itself proposes that the use of force is prohibited. In the resolution of conflicts, the number one principle of international law is to prohibit the use of force. And international law also provides that where two parties are faced with a conflict situation, their first call of duty or their first responsibility is to default to mediation, negotiation, and reconciliation. That is the first thing they should do. But 80 years after the establishment of the United Nations, there is actually no mechanism where people can mediate conflicts, can negotiate conflicts. Because the United Nations Security Council, as constituted, first deals with interstate conflicts in the first instance, okay? And even as formulated, as structured, the architecture of the United Nations Security Council, or the architecture, for that matter, of the AU Peace and Security Council, is not one that lends itself, for a lengthy mediation process, And therefore, dear Excellencies, it is for that reason that we need to work together around a framework, for institutionalizing and making mediation and negotiation a default approach to conflict to conflict resolution. And Kenya and its partners are working around this issue, and I hope we can work with the Secretariat on a convention for the support, protection, and acceleration of conflict prevention resolutions, and resolutions amongst others. I say these things to us, indeed, really just to say that I welcome you on behalf of the Minister. I wish you happy deliberations, and I commit on behalf of the Minister and on behalf of the Republic that we will work hand in glove with the Council of Eminent Persons of IGAD. If you allow me, Mr. Onyari, is it in order for me to invite the Minister? It is now my pleasure and privilege to welcome our guest of honor today, the Minister in charge of Culture, Children, and Women Affairs of the Republic, here representing the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Madam Hannah Chiptumo. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Just like the General of Azol spoke, it is difficult to speak after those three gentlemen. But because of gender, I will assert my position. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is both a privilege and a profound responsibility to stand before you today in our capital city, Nairobi, at this Intergovernmental Authority on Development Regional Forum for Eminent Personalities and Leaders for Peace. I acknowledge the presence of His Excellency Dr. Wokne Kebeyeyu, the Executive Director of IGAD, Honorable Rehema Dida Jeldesa, Chairperson of the Kenya National Gender and Equality Commission, Dr. Fatuma Adan, IGAD Head of Mission to Kenya, the Principal Secretary, present representing the Minister for Diaspora Affairs. My neighbor, he knows where we are neighbors. And to say that your leadership embodies the collective wisdom this initiative seeks to harness for our region's stability. In our IGAD region, conflict has fractured families, displaced communities, and eroded hope. Yet, throughout our history, women and young people have consistently emerged as agents of preventive diplomacy, and this often through unofficial channels that we now seek to elevate into mainstream peace building. Their wisdom, born from lived experience and community rootedness, represents an untapped reservoir for regional stability. Kenya's national efforts demonstrate how gender-inclusive dialogues transform societies. Our 2019 National Policy on Gender and Development establishes firm foundations, mainstreaming equality across political, economic, and security spheres. Our Constitution enshrines the 2/3 gender principle, a mandate we are progressively embedding through ongoing legislation. We have robust laws, including the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act 2015 and the Sexual Offenses Act 2019, alongside a rigorous gender-based violence monitoring and evaluation framework that ensures accountability in our preventive diplomacy efforts. These investments yield measurable results. Women-led mediation during Kenya's 2010-2013 post-election recovery fostered reconciliation rooted in community trust and served as a textbook example of how collective wisdom prevents future conflicts. Youth initiatives supported by our parents in civil society have trained dozens of young mediators, especially women, in conflict-affected counties. These experiences prove that local actors, particularly women and youth, aren't merely conflict victims, but vital architects of preventive diplomacy whose collective wisdom strengthens regional stability. Building on this firm foundation, I stand here to congratulate IGAD Council of Eminent Personalities and advocate that as you go about your work, you champion the inclusion of youth and women in Track 2 mediation, an initiative that recognizes how equally vital is our shared cultural heritage, arts, and traditional practices have long served as bridges between communities and offer time-tested mechanism for dialogue and reconciliation. We propose a bold regional framework that harnesses our collective wisdom systematically. I invite you to envision with me a diverse regional roster of eminent persons, senior women and men, youth and elders, all working to identify, mentor, and elevate credible mediators in Track 2 efforts. Picture with me modular, gender-sensitive training in negotiation, psychosocial support, and trauma-aware facilitation delivered from capital to village. And I emphasize that. Let's move from here to the villages, creating networks of preventive diplomacy practitioners. We propose cross-border mentoring that links senior mediators with emerging women and youth practitioners across our region. This initiative will employ rigorous evaluation mechanisms aligned with Kenya's gender-based violence framework, measuring equity, inclusion, and impact in our preventive diplomacy efforts. The government of Kenya proudly backs a region-wide initiative on youth and women inclusion in Track 2 mediation, preventative diplomacy, and peace building. At our recent National Gender Sector Working Group meeting, I reaffirmed our commitment under His Excellency the President, William Samoei Ruto, 9-point agenda for women, including domestic care policies and economic empowerment strategies that strengthen the foundation for regional stability. Yet, that meeting confronted us with the harsh reality of appalling rates of femicide, with 5,578 women and girls taken from us in the year 2024, and it continues. Each number represents a life lost, a family shattered, and a community where preventive diplomacy has failed at the domestic level. This stark reminder drives our urgency to harness collective wisdom before conflicts escalate. Regionally, we anticipate in IGAD's relaunched Women, Peace and Security Forum, and recently hosted the Regional Dialogue on Gender, Land and Climate Resilience in Nairobi. Kenya will engage fully in upcoming high-level platforms. The IGAD Youth Forum on Peace in Entebbe, the UNAU Women's Forum in Addis Ababa, and a continent-wide youth peace conference to be convened in Nairobi later this year. Each platform amplifies our collective wisdom for regional stability. This initiative transcends symbolism and tokenism. It is strategically essential for preventive diplomacy. A peace process that excludes women and youth ignores half of our region's wisdom. Peace that silences their voices cannot endure because it lacks the collective intelligence that makes communities resilient. Yesterday we had a meeting. We had statistics that half of our population is composed of children, and therefore women are there. That is why we have to speak to this populace. I therefore invite this IGAD through this council to take decisive action. First, endorse this initiative under the Council of Eminent Personalities, anchoring it within IGAD's institutional framework as a cornerstone of our preventive diplomacy architecture. Second, commit funding and technical support, including bilateral and multilateral contributions that sustain our collective wisdom building efforts. Third, mobilize additional eminent persons from former heads of state to grassroots peace builders to campaign and support the implementation of this gender-inclusive dialogue program. The genius of this IGAD Council of Eminent Personalities is that by harnessing the essence of Track 2 cultural arts and our shared heritage, we are leveraging trust, familiarity, and rootedness, the spaces precisely where women and youth excel. Including them is therefore not about meeting quotas, it is about harnessing our region's full collective wisdom for preventive diplomacy and peace building. When we bring together our daughters and sons and our mothers and fathers, we build peace that draws from the complete spectrum of human experience and insight. On behalf of the government of Kenya, and with gratitude to IGAD and all partners, I pledge our legal, financial, and institutional support to the work of the IGAD Council of Eminent Personalities. Together, let us harness our collective wisdom to broaden the cycle of peace and strengthen regional stability through truly inclusive preventive diplomacy. I would like to add and say, as the Minister for, let me put it right, it's not women issues, it is the Minister for Gender, Culture and Children Services. We are trying to look at how we can balance, how we can use culture to influence the way we are looking at life now, how things used to be done before, how we used to relate with one another in the society, how we used to be, how we used to respect elders, how we respect order, how we take care of the young people, the culture that needs to be inculcated in the lives of the children from a very young, early age, teaching them to know how to live with one another, how to say thank you, how to say pole, how to say excuse me. These are some of the things that we need to go back there. So I would want to appeal to these eminent persons through the forums that you have, that can we be able to mainstream some of these things? Let us get involved. Let's go back and ask ourselves, where did we lose it? Did we become too academic, too formal, until we forgot? Women became very busy, career women. No, I'm not in any way saying that is, but we need to still be able to know that we are the nurturers, we are the people who take care of the society. Fathers also need to play their roles, need to affirm their sons and be able to tell them they matter and they are very important in the society. So some of these things are the ones that we are speaking to as a ministry, and we want to be very much be involved in the matters of IGAD so that we can be able to restore the family values as they were that time, not only here in Kenya, but regionally. So that is my only addition, and I want to thank you so much for inviting us and be able to say that His Excellency the Deputy President was supposed to be here, but because of work, I am here. This is the government. So it is fully represented. Thank you very much and have good deliberations.
Thank you very much, Waziri. A round of applause for all the leaders who have spoken. Waziri, thank you very much. And one area that you mentioned about IGAD being active in the grassroots, in the villages, and as PS also mentioned about us being active in the grassroots, I want to affirm you that the vision of His Excellency, the Executive Secretary, is that he wants to take IGAD to the people. The people are not in the urban centers. The people are there in the villages, and we want to be very active there. So this one I want to confirm to you that it is an ongoing process, and we are going to be active in the village and indeed in the grassroots. We are through with the first session of this meeting, and now we are going to have a health break, but before that we'll have a group photo where the high table and the eminent person will take a group photo, and we are going to be led by the communication team. It's going to be out there. So Excellencies, I request that we go for the group photo, and then we can come for the next session. So, and all of us, we can also join at the group photo. After the eminent person have taken a photo with the Excellencies, then we can also join in. Thank you very much.